Thank you for being here with me today. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. I'd love it if you could share in the comments which city or country you're watching from and what time it is there. Now, let's begin our story together. The air in this old house, thick with the cloying scent of lilies and unspoken betrayals, still held the ghosts of a decade-old wound, the day my father chose appearances over his own son. I stood in the foyer of what used to be my home, a place that now felt more like a museum of a life I'd been exiled from. Every polished surface, every framed family photo on the wall, seemed to gaze at me with accusation. The antiseptic chill of the air conditioning, usually a welcome relief from the May humidity, now just made my skin prickle with an internal coldness. My chest tightened, a vice-like grip as if someone had wrapped barbed wire around my lungs. The moment I pushed open the heavy oak doors, I spotted them immediately, of course, Mark and Lindsay, my older brother and sister, holding court by the fireplace, their backs ramrod straight, their faces composed in expressions of performative grief. They were talking to Aunt Sarah, a woman who always smelled faintly of lavender and judgment. Mark, ever the pillar of suburban success, wore a perfectly tailored charcoal suit, his silver watch glinting under the chandelier. Lindsay, draped in an elegant black dress, had her hair meticulously coiffed, not a strand out of place, her hands, adorned with expensive rings, were clasped just so. They looked like they'd stepped straight out of a magazine, a picture of the perfect grieving children. I took a slow, deliberate breath, trying to steady the tremor in my hands. It had been 10 years since I'd last set foot in this house, 10 years since I'd truly seen them, a decade of silence punctuated by occasional strained emails about holidays I was never expected to attend. I walked towards them, each step feeling heavy, like I was wading through thick mud. The hushed murmurs of other mourners seemed to amplify around me, every glance felt like a pinprick. Mark was the first to notice me. His head snapped up, his eyes narrowing slightly before his face settled into a practiced, dismissive smirk. He finished his sentence to Aunt Sarah with a flourish, then turned. Well, look who decided to grace us with his presence, he said, his voice dripping with false cordiality, just loud enough for Aunt Sarah and a few others nearby to hear. He offered a pat on the back that felt less like comfort and more like a dismissive shove. Surprised you could tear yourself away from whatever it is you do, Jason. Thought you'd cut ties with us for good. Lindsay's eyes, sharp and cold as shattered glass, flickered over my attire like she was auditing my poverty. She didn't meet my gaze, instead focusing on a spot just over my shoulder. Honestly, Jason, it's a bit much, isn't it? Showing up now after everything, her voice, usually soft and melodious, was laced with an almost imperceptible edge of disdain. My throat felt like sandpaper. He was my father too, Mark, Lindsay. My voice came out rougher than I intended, a little hoarse from disuse and the lump that had lodged itself stubbornly in my throat. Aunt Sarah offered a pitying smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Oh, Jason, it's good of you to come. Her words felt like a weak balm on a gaping wound. I knew why they were like this. I knew what they believed, that I was the black sheep, the one who fled, the one who abandoned them. But they didn't know the truth, they never had, or maybe they just chose not to. A decade ago, I was 27, my life a carefully constructed house of cards that had just imploded. I'd married too young to a woman who, in hindsight, was a master manipulator, slowly chipping away at my self-worth until I was a shadow of myself.